It's time for today's travel and cruise industry news. With the latest from travel and cruises around the world, here's your host, Chillie Falls.
Good morning, welcome to November. The signal is really wonky today. We are into some relatively rough seas. We're doing some swaying in and out of cloud cover, in and out of rain showers, and the signal has been goofy. I was literally all over the ship trying to find a good solid spot for a signal today, and it was either way too loud or no signal at all. So I ended up back here in my cabin because the signal at least has been reasonably stable. And then as soon as I started the show, I'm not sure if the intro played or not. But anyway, we'll see if we can get through it, guys. This, of course, is Wednesday Travel Cruise Industry News and Podcast for November the 9th. Top story this morning, travel warnings issued for the west coast of Florida. More ship changes we're going to talk about. Azamara to visit South Africa and South America. Razor wire and armed guards on a cruise ship. What? And much more here at 11 o'clock this morning. Listening via the podcast, always welcome aboard. You can always access the podcast via my blog, which is accessadventure.net, or wherever you get your podcasts from. All the big guys. Just search for Travel and Cruise Industry News, and up pops the Fat Travel Guy. I apologize again with the signals at sea. When they're really good, they're good, and when they are really bad, they suck. You know, I did my show last night at 5 o'clock. The show went off relatively smoothly, I thought, from I could tell on the signal. I have yet to be able to upload the podcast. Finally, just a few minutes ago, I got the podcast uploaded, and I can't upload it to my blog. So, anyway. And I'll continue trying. When I eventually get a good signal, everything will be back up where it's supposed to be. I mean, you can access the podcast by the big guys. Just search for it, and yesterday's podcast will pop up. So, but yeah, sometimes at sea it can be a little iffy. So let's cover a couple issues about tomorrow. We're going to talk about the storm, obviously, a lot here this morning. According to the latest information I got, the port of Tampa is open and is continuing to stay open. They do not expect any changes at this port. Ports on the East Coast are closed or closing till the storm gets out of there. It's still very iffy as to what we're going to be dealing with as we go into Tampa. But it's going to be something. So it's going to be, at best, it's going to be very wet and windy disembarkation, I would think. So I know that I need to try to get going and out of town as soon as possible. So tomorrow's show, folks, which is at 11 o'clock now, I should be off the ship by then and hopefully to my car. Now I've got to Uber over to the hotel, to the Holiday Inn Express to get my car. And then I need to try to stay ahead of this storm as much as possible. I'm going to play tomorrow by ear, guys, and see how the weather is as to whether I'm going to do a show or not do a show. Because I really don't know. I mean, if it's raining like crazy and windy, I'm going to, unless I park the car, and then if I can't drive, I'll do a show. But I just got a feeling tomorrow is best left. That I'm probably not going to be on the air tomorrow. Don't know how else to handle this one. Same thing with Cruz Amigos tomorrow afternoon. No matter what kind of wind and rain we get, and the path of it's going right exactly where I've got to drive all the way home. The center of the storm, if it continues on up the East Coast like it's supposed to, goes right through my farm. So at any rate, I have a feeling that I'm going to leave you hanging tomorrow at 11 and again for the Cruz Amigos. If there's any way around it, then I'll get on as quickly as I can. But being as transparent as possible, folks, of course, my safety comes first. I'm not going to do anything to risk anything between, now and then. I'm relatively surprised that they're not worried about going under the big bridge in Tampa, going into Tampa Bay. That one's I found kind of interesting. So I guess the wind and the tides and so forth, they feel it's not going to be any effect. It's going to be. I'll let you know. It's someplace. Who knows? Let's see. All right, I'll be back with the weather and today's news after a quick break from one of our network sponsors. I am noticing that everything is slowed down, so your signal could be wonky and it could be cutting out on the audio. I just don't know. Anyway, that's the latest map of uncertainty from the National Hurricane Center. And I'm going to go over the latest. This was just about 10 minutes ago. The key messages on Tropical Storm Nicole. Hurricane conditions and dangerous storm surge are expected in portions of the northwestern Bahamas today, where a hurricane warning is in effect. Hurricane conditions are expected across portions of the coast of southeast and east central Florida beginning this evening or tonight, where hurricane warnings are in effect. Tropical storm conditions have begun along the east coast of Florida in the warning areas and will spread northward to Georgia and South Carolina later today. Tropical storm conditions are expected to begin along the west coast of Florida within the warning area this evening or tonight. The dangerous storm surge is expected along much of the east coast of Florida, portions of coastal Georgia, and the Florida Big Bend along the Gulf Coast. The storm surge will get accompanied by large and damaging waves along the Atlantic coast. Residents in the warning area should listen to local officials. Do not focus on the exact track of Nicole, since it's a large storm with hazards extending well to the north of the center, outside of the forecast zone. These hazards will affect much of Florida Peninsula and portions of the southeastern United States. Nicole will produce heavy rainfall today into Thursday across the Florida Peninsula. Flash and urban flooding will be possible across portions of the Florida Peninsula, along with river rises on the St. Johns River. Isolated flash, urban, and small stream flooding will also be possible on Friday in the southeast through the southern and central Appalachians, including the Blue Ridge Mountains, and extending northward through west central Pennsylvania and into western New York by Friday night. So I don't know if I want to get ahead of this thing or if I want to stay behind and let this thing get ahead of me. Who knows? No matter which call I make, it's probably going to be the wrong one. All right, new tropical storm warnings issued for the west coast of Florida since the last broadcast and portions of Georgia and South Carolina coast. New storm surge warnings have just been issued. The current location, it's about 25 miles east-northeast of Great Abaco Island, about 210 miles east of West Palm Beach. Maximum sustained winds are 70 miles an hour. It's been holding it at 70 now since last evening. So, who knows? It's moving west at 12. The pressure ticked up a notch. It was down to 985. It's now 986. That might be an encouraging sign, although you really can't tell with just 1 millibar, but still, that was a tick up instead of a tick down. So that's a good thing. Tropical storm warning has been issued for the west coast of Florida, north of Bonita Beach to Indian Pass. The tropical storm warning also has been extended northward from Altamaha Sound, Georgia, to South Santee River, South Carolina. The storm surge warning has been issued for the Anclote River, Florida, and the Ocklawakanee River in Florida. The governor of the Bahamas has changed the hurricane warning for Bimini to a tropical storm warning. The government of the Bahamas has discontinued the tropical storm warning for Andros Island, New Providence, and Eleuthera. A turn toward the west-northwest is expected tonight, followed by a turn toward the northwest on Thursday and a north or northeast on Friday. On the forecast track, the center of Nicole will move near or over the Abacos and Grand Bahama in the northwestern Bahamas today, move onshore the east coast of Florida within the hurricane warning area tonight, and that should be, at least the target now looks like it's going to be just a tad bit north of West Palm, like maybe Stewart, along in that area, which is right where my niece and nephew are. But in that general vicinity looks like where the best chance we can see at this point of where the landfall will come. Nicole Center is then expected to move across central and northern Florida into southern Georgia Thursday night, and then across the Carolinas Friday night. What we don't really know yet is where it's actually going to take the turn to the north, and that will affect how much and how serious things get in that area where I'm going to be in the morning. So, I mean, it's a possibility that it can, yesterday, one of the main models were showing that it was, never going to get all the way to the West Coast. But now, it's just real iffy. So, who knows? Some strengthening is expected today. So it's clearly going to be a hurricane. It strengthens at all. It's a hurricane. Nicole is forecast to become a hurricane in the northwestern Bahamas and remain a hurricane until it reaches the east coast of Florida tonight. Nicole is expected to weaken while moving across Florida and the southeastern United States Thursday and Friday, and is likely to become a post-tropical cyclone by Friday night over the mid-Atlantic states. Nicole is still a large tropical storm. Tropical storm force trends extend outward up to 460 miles now, folks, especially to the north of center. All right. That's the end of the weather. Thank goodness. I'm getting a little tired of talking about weather, folks. You guys know that by now. Let's get on this over with for the year and get on with things. That would be nice. All right. 2 of Holland American Line ships will now be staying at sea for at least an extra day to avoid the impact of the tropical storm Nicole, the Hurricane Nicole, which is closing cruise home ports in Florida as she approaches the Sunshine State. Both MSC Uredam and MSC Rotterdam will not be returning to Port Everglades as scheduled today. and no confirmation has yet been made about their eventual debarkation dates. Condition Zulu went into effect at 8 p.m. on Tuesday night and will not be lifted until the storm has passed. Wind speeds have dropped, and safety inspections confirmed that the port can safely reopen to marine traffic. Both cruise ships were originally scheduled to return to Port Everglades this morning, with their next cruise to begin this afternoon. And of course, you got people now that are going to be late getting back, and those that were supposed to sail today got to hold off sailing until tomorrow or who knows what day. Hopefully it will be tomorrow, but it might be the next day. 2 Carnival cruise ships have had itinerary changes confirmed. Both Carnival Liberty and Carnival Elation are changing ports of call on their current sailings. Carnival Liberty is sailing a 4-night cruise which departed Port Canaveral on Monday. The itinerary was supposed to have been ports of call in Nassau and Princess Key, a private destination for the cruise line. Both ports have been dropped. Instead, the ship is spending Tuesday at sea and will visit Cozumel on Wednesday. Carnival Elation, which is homeported up there in Jacksonville, is currently on a 5-night cruise that departed Saturday. The ship was to have visited Nassau Monday and Princess Keys yesterday. While the visit to Nassau went ahead scheduled, the ship was redirected to Freeport yesterday rather than Princess Keys. I'm sure there are other changes. Those are the ones that have come across my wires at this point. And nothing on anything changing in Tampa or with this ship. So we're going in as scheduled, folks. Azamara. So my friend Bethany in Tampa probably wants to listen to this one. Azamara will be returning to South Africa and South America at the end of the year on board Azamara Pursuit and Azamara Journey. For the first time since 2020, Azamara Journey will return to Cape Town, South Africa in December. Azamara Pursuit will return to South America on November 30th, and a whole bunch of cruises. So if you're interested in any of those, check it out. Passengers aboard the cruise ship Viking Mars received a letter from the captain advising them about the precautionary measure taken against pirate attacks as the cruise ship sailed through the Gulf of Aden. And folks, I had to do a double check. I checked the date 3 times to make sure we're talking about now. Pirate attacks? After completing its European season, the Viking Mars is now sailing a 35-night cruise named Voyage of Marco Polo from Piraeus, that's in Greece, to Shebang in Bangkok, Thailand, with 1,332 guests and crew. Some of the extra security measures taken out of an abundance of caution, but not in response to a specific threat, included placing razor wire to the guardrails around deck 2 and boarding of armed guards while the ship was sailing the notorious region for Somali pirates. These security protocols are based on the recommendations of relevant national authorities and is standard security practice for all vessels in certain regions, including the Gulf of Aden. I don't know about you, but I'd have to think twice about sailing on anything in the Gulf of Aden. Razor wire and armed guards on cruise ships? No, thank you. Goodness. I guess things are necessary. All right, let's go see who's fussing at me in the chat room today, folks. That's actually all the news today. Wasn't a whole lot of news other than the stupid weather. Mercy sakes alive, and I'm getting sick and tired of that. Hot Air Tom's here, hoping I have a signal. Wow, there's Pittsburgh Jason. We was talking about you at the breakfast table this morning. We went for the C-Day brunch. Cindy and Nick and John and Jean and myself. I don't know, what the hell did Jason come into the conversation? I don't even remember what, but something was said between me and Cindy about you, and we were talking about you for something. I can't remember now what it was. It was nothing bad, Jason. Don't get me wrong. We were just sitting there chatting about you. Anyway, I have enjoyed this cruise. Of course, I enjoyed the cruise with Hot Air Tom and Cindy that I did back in August. I enjoyed my cruise with Sue and Barry, my friends from Alaska, on the Symphony of the Seas. And this has been a great trip. I got to visit with Bonnie. I had breakfast with Bethany, and then Cindy on this cruise, and her family and her husband and friends. And they have been such fun to be with. We've laughed and laughed and laughed. We had a fantastic day yesterday in Cozumel with Elizabeth. I knew Cindy and Elizabeth would hit it off, and boy, did they ever. So yeah, that was good. Elizabeth, I headed back to the ship because I had to do my show at 5. And I think Cindy and Nick hung out with Elizabeth a little while longer, and Elizabeth took her around to some of the good shopping spots. So I think Cindy picked up a few things there. But we laughed about that, and then the best bartender I've ever had at sea, it was on the Meraviglia. I never can get all that together right. But we texted her, and she came over and joined us. She and one of her friends from on board joined us for a few minutes, and maybe a little alcoholic beverage was involved. I don't know. But it was so good to see Rhea again. And of course, when Elizabeth was on that ship, she and Rhea were best friends. That's how I got to be so close with Rhea. And then she was such a good bartender that I just hung out at her bar the whole cruise. Because she was great. She really was. So good to see her again. So this has been a fun trip for me, even though I've had some frustrations with the Wi-Fi. And other times the Wi-Fi's been as good as on this ship as I've had. So you just don't know anymore. So Nikki's here. Hi, Nikki. Amy's with us. Good morning, Amy. I can hear you, but the screen is black. Oh no. Can't see you, Chillie. Oh, that's signal, folks. I hope it came back. Because I'm showing that I'm showing that the signal is continuing on. Can't see you. Hi, Chillie. Hi, Sonny. Nikki says no picture. Oh, I thought he was just in a dark cabin. No, it's the light here is okay. Glad to be able to hear Chillie. Well, you can hear me. Is Chillie in the dark? No, I'm not in the dark, folks. I told you the signal was wonky this morning. We're into some rough seas and some weather that might be causing it. But what I'm looking at, folks, it looks like I am perfectly live on stream and clear. My signal even looks good. I'm using my phone as the webcam. I'm sitting here looking. It's not like I was under bright lights, but the lights are fine. Wow. There's Chillie. I see him. Because I came back on. I see a frozen Chillie. Well, none of this sucks. Amazing how still he can be through the rough seas. Yeah, well, it's actually rocking a little bit, Jason. Oh, come on, do a show during a hurricane. Well, under normal circumstances, I tried, except I'm not sure how much of this I want to drive in. I couldn't figure out which way to go. Maybe I'll do it tomorrow. I don't know. Stay tuned. I might just pop in and it came back on. So yeah, it is sketchy, guys, and I apologize. Well, I'm not apologizing. It's not my fault. I mean, obviously, I would like to have the perfect signal. Yo, Brooklyn in the house. Hey, Eddie. Glad you made it with us. Saying hello to everybody. Our son lives on boats in St. Augustine. They are here in Jacksonville with us for the storm. Take a look at the surf cam at the St. Augustine Pier, stormy seas. Yeah, I was seeing that things have gotten pretty dicey along the East Coast there. Now, we're not even that close to Tampa yet. I mean, yeah, we're still just coming around the tip of Cuba. And it's a little rough out here today. And it's not stormy, but it's rainy. Cloudy and rainy off and on. Nikki says, are the winds blowing in Orlando yet? Katie says, no school tomorrow, leaving 2 hours early today. Nikki's their boats made it through Ian okay. Devin's sailboat has solar panels and he was worried about them, but no damage. Well, that's good. Katie says getting more rain and wind in Orlando already. Hope all goes well for the storm. Oh, everybody, for Bonnie. And yes, Bonnie, it's going to be just right north of her house, the center of it, whatever it may be. Nikki says that's the link to the St. Augustine live surf cam. Talking about you again. Yep, yeah, I was, Jason. I talk about you a lot. Yeah, we did. Can't remember what it was. Maybe it was that you. I know what it was. We were the Carnival Conquest was mentioned. I said, yeah, Jason and I are on that next fall. So that's what we were talking about. Was I'm going to be on the Carnival Conquest with you. Rich is here. Safe travel, Chillie. Did you try the carne asada at Ponch's? No, actually, I had tamales yesterday. They just looked really good on the menu, and quite frankly, I've never eaten tamales before. So I tried them, and it was just a tad to the bland side for me. So they have salsa, which is different than the salsa I'm used to, but they have their salsa is more like pico to me. But anyway, I put some of that on the tamales, and that spiced them up enough to make them really nice. So I did that. And quite frankly, I enjoyed several adult beverages there for the day. So it was a good time. But the carne asada, I promise, Rich, I will try that next time I'm there, whenever that may be. I can't remember now when I go to Cozumel again. Of course, Elizabeth's going to get to Australia 1st of December. So I'll lose my palling around buddy in Australia for a while. I mean, in Cozumel for a while. Of course, maybe I can go to Australia and pal around with her there. That would be nice. So get my son Jason, not Pittsburgh Jason, the other Jason that's my agent. Let's get Jason to give me a trip sponsored to Australia. That would be a trip. Sonny says, looking at the St. Augustine surf cams, also see people there watching the storm coming in. Jason says, Cindy Lee worried about the storm? not so much. I mean, they're from Florida. They're used to this crap. And John and Jean are the same way. I mean, they're an elderly couple, but they've been down here for 30 years or something. So it's just like home to them. I'm actually more worried about. I'm worried more. Not worried, but I'm more thoughtful about going under the bridge in the storm. I mean, because you know there's going to be surf, and the clearance on that bridge is not that great. So, I mean, I'm sure that the tides affect how close the ship is to the top of the bridge. But I don't know, it just looks kind of like sort of tight quarters to me for going through it in a tropical storm or a hurricane. Of course, in a hurricane, the port would be closed down. But apparently they think it's going to be safe, so I'll go with them. It's funny to watch Chillie going in and out of frozenness. He can survive anything. Thanks, Sonny. Like I say, I just saw the one freeze onto my camera. I didn't know about all the other ones. There's Mike. Hi, Mike. How you doing today? I'm going on the Conquest in February, too. Oh, you're going on. That's right. You're going on the Conquest twice. We're on a 9-dayer into we on the Panama Canal on that one, partial of Panama. I know we're down. I know we go to Colombia, and I can't remember where all that one goes. Back-to-back cruise during the Super Bowl. I wonder if they'll have the Super Bowl on Conquest. So, Paradise doesn't do very well. There's no sports channel. The only news channel is CBS something. Regular CBS network. And some kind of CBS news channel. It doesn't have any of the usuals that you know, Fox or CNN or MSNBC. None of those are on this. No ESPN. When they have, there's the sports bar in the casino, which is like a sports bar, has a couple big TVs that they've got stuff on. Anyway, it's an unusual TV lineup, I thought. 90% of it or 80% of it probably is all in-house stuff and very little on networks and the like. Dennis is with us. Good morning, Dennis. So, all right, guys. It's sea day on Paradise. And like I say, I'm sitting here, my Coke is, my Diet Coke is kind of waving back and forth in the glass. So we're doing a little rocking. That doesn't bother me, folks. That's just been a cradle for me as much as I've been at sea over the years. So it doesn't bother me in the least. I don't know what I'm going to do today. I probably need to film some stuff that I just haven't gotten to. Last night, quite frankly, after dinner, I came to the cabin to process the show yesterday. I never made it back out of the cabin last night. I hit the bed. I was pretty tired. So, and I slept longer last night than I've slept forever. So, Sonny says, thumbs up, everybody. Yeah, we do appreciate that. That helps the channel out a lot. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing. Take this as my invitation to join us. We have a lot of fun in the chat room every day. And I'm not making no promises about tomorrow. I will try to do a live stream from wherever, no matter what the weather is. But I'm not going to 100% guarantee it. I'm not going to tell you for sure I'm going to do a show tomorrow. Same thing with Cruise Amigos. If the weather's bad or if I got a chance of getting ahead of the weather, I'm going to take it instead of taking the time to do the show and get the hell out of Dodge, because I really don't want to drive in this for the next couple of days. I don't want to get stuck on the road either. So I don't know. We'll see. Pizza review. You know, I have a little pizza review. I just haven't gotten it posted, which was from the first day. I had a little pizza up in the buffet. Maybe I'm gonna get some pizza and really do an honest to God pizza review just for you, Jason. That might be on the agenda for this afternoon. So anyway, that's gonna wrap it up for today, guys. We'll see you about tomorrow. Who knows? If there's any breaking news today, I'll be back. If I can get a signal. Who knows on that too. So, all right. You guys all in Florida, stay safe. Oh my goodness. Please stay safe, y'all. And everybody here, stay safe, stay healthy. Think about cruising. And hopefully one day soon we'll all get together on the high seas. Have a fantastic day. Hopefully I'll see you for one or the other or both shows tomorrow. If not, I'll see you on Friday. This is the old fat travel guy. Later, y'all.
I regularly post videos on all facets of the travel and cruise industry. So if you like to keep up with the latest in cruise ships, ports of call, cruises themselves, Chillie chats, and travel and cruise industry news, just hit the little subscribe button in the lower right-hand corner, hit the bell notification so you'll be notified when a new video is up or we go live.